I don't know why outside is especially yellow today, but we're gonna make it work, okay? So, it has been a long time since I have posted a video on YouTube. Sorry about that. Words, they just don't work for me. But between that week that I did not post on YouTube, I have been doing a lot of reading, and I just didn't make the videos for it yet. I read the entire Maid trilogy. I didn't realize there was going to be a fourth one, but I read the first 3 books, and I read the second book of the Twisted series, Twisted Games. So today what we're going to be talking about is Twisted Games. It is the second book of the Twisted series by Anna Huang. Just to start off, I liked it a lot better than the first one, and I will kind of go into the reasonings for that. So if you don't know what Twisted Games is about, it is a forbidden romance between a bodyguard and his client. The book takes place over, I believe it's like 5 years. Honestly, I kind of forgot, but it takes place over a long period of time throughout the entirety from the beginning of when Rhys, who's the bodyguard, gets hired to the end where they get together. It starts in the midway point of the events of the first book when Rhys first becomes a bodyguard for Bridget. Bridget, the reason why she needs a bodyguard is because she is the princess of this like small country in Europe. I'm just gonna call it Genovia because we gotta talk, you know, Princess Diaries-esque, but I honestly forgot the name. I read this book a little bit ago, so I kind of forgot the name of the actual country, but I'm just gonna call it Genovia, okay? It gives Genovia vibes. She's the princess of Genovia. They start off, the bodyguard and Bridget, he's very controlling in the way he wants to protect Bridget, and they do not like each other at all. But over time, he's her bodyguard for like, what, 2 years? Then we find out that Bridget, she's the princess. Her older brother is supposed to take over for the throne because her grandpa is the king. He's sick, but also her brother abdicates the throne for love. And there's a marriage law that you have to marry someone of royalty. So her brother didn't want to marry someone of royalty. He wanted to marry his then girlfriend, who's not royalty. So he abdicates the throne, pushing Bridget to become the queen, even though this was something that she was not prepared for, she was not ready for. It's kind of like she's lost her freedom and her will and her choice to like live her life. And also Rhys becomes an embodiment of that, of like being kind of locked up, not being able to like do what she wants to do. So now that she realized her life is basically freaking over, she has to learn how to be a queen before she, you know, takes over. She moves back to her home country of Genovia, and that is when the relationship really develops between Rhys and Bridget. There was always the sexual chemistry between them, the sexual tension, but since it's kind of like a, not co-worker, but there's like a position of power, it's like an employer with their boss, you know, it's very forbidden to do anything about it, and it's a dual point of view. So in Rhys's head, you kind of get his internal conflict, like, wow, I really, you know, want to sleep with this girl, but I can't. She's literally my employer, and he's a very righteous man. He, you know, he just doesn't sleep with his bosses, with his, like, the people that he is guarding, because it, you know, kind of shields how well he does at his job and makes him distracted and stuff like that. So he just doesn't do that. But next thing you know, they actually do get into a relationship, but they have to keep it a secret because since she's going to be queen, she has to marry someone of royalty. A bodyguard is not royalty, and there is paparazzi everywhere. So that becomes a problem. If you want to read it, I would suggest it. I gave this book a 3.75 out of 5 stars. I thought this was a huge, huge, huge step up from the first book, Twisted Love. I thought that the characters were much more well developed. I thought Bridget really developed as a character. She became really strong. You could tell that like her role as a queen or soon to be queen, she was really falling into that. I love that this story took over years of time because you really got to develop that relationship and see the tension and see the chemistry between them, between Rhys and Bridget. I thought that they really worked well together as like an opposites attract kind of couple because he's really like rough and she's this like proper princess, you know? I love his term of endearment in literally calling her princess, but the way I was reading princess, it wasn't like in a literal sense, it was like a term of endearment sense, you know? And I thought that the romance was believable. The one thing I did feel kind of iffy about was like there's a lot of parts that were really slow. It reads like a slow burn, and you could really feel that sometimes. There was a lot of parts that felt really slow or unnecessary, and I thought that the plot points were really predictable. I'm gonna give a little bit of spoiler here, or actually it's a full-on spoiler. Once the relationship between Bridget and Rhys really ramp up, you know, they're starting to hook up, they're like really in this relationship, they're in this together, they've kind of like call each other theirs, like, oh, you're mine, I'm yours. Bridget knows that like it's temporary because she's gonna be a queen and she cannot marry a commoner. That's what in my head, I was like, oh, okay. I already know what's gonna happen. He's gonna end up, Rhys is actually gonna be of royal blood. And that's gonna be a plot point, which happened. He is of royal blood. But on top of that, she was gonna get rid of the marriage law that says that you have to marry someone of royal blood. And she did that. I thought the way that they did it, though, was pretty clever. Like, they brought Alex and Ava back from the first book to, like, kind of help with the situation. Alex, from the first book, kind of becomes, like, an ex machina and, like, comes, you know, from kind of nowhere. He's, like, and, you know, does this thing to help Bridget with her plan to get rid of the marriage law. And I really like how her getting rid of the marriage law, Bridget, and like the way she did it, it really showed how strong and how competent she can be in being a true ruler. So I really liked that. Despite some of these flaws of predictability, because it really was predictable, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this book. I think I realized that as a reader, if I'm going to read romance, I like relationships that develop over a long period of time, or relationships that literally don't feel insta-lovey. I do love insta-love. I do love insta-love, especially if it's like insta-lust. But I really need to find, when I read romance books, I really need to find reasons as to why the hell they actually like each other, you know? I need to find the reason why this person and this person are meant for each other and like their personality traits for that, you know? Like if 2 + 2 = 4, then it better equal 4. You know, I don't even know if that made sense, but it made sense when I just said it right now in my head. If you didn't like the first book, Twisted Love, I really think that you should give this one a chance. It's not like, oh my god, amazing, 5 stars, the best thing I've ever read, but it really is a fun read. There are some parts of this book, though, that felt almost exactly, like there were lines in the book that felt exactly the same, like the exact lines that they used in the first book, and it really felt like Anna Huang wasn't really giving a new voice to different characters. She was just kind of literally copied and pasted. Like, let me try to look for an example, okay? So in this book, Rhys, when they're having SCGG, you know, he says, "Who do you belong to?" And Bridget goes, "Me." And he says, "That's right, me." And I read that and I said, did Alex not say the exact same thing to Ava? And she replied the exact same way. Exactly, who do you belong to? Me. That's right, me. I was like, I've heard this before. I've definitely heard this line before. I like how they talk, the things that they talk about this book, and why I believe that Rhys and Bridget are meant for each other is that they talk about loneliness and being alone in the world and really seeing each other for who they truly are. Because, you know, especially if you're a princess, you have to put on this kind of showcase of being proper in front of the paparazzi and in front of, you know, the people that you are ruling over. And I like this line specifically with Rhys, is that throughout all of the years he has seen her for her, and I think that she sees Rhys in the same way, and I love that. I think it's so cute. Bridget says, I've never been able to hide who I truly was from Rhys, and I think that kind of really solidified that, like, okay, I can get behind this relationship. I can do that. Because they, especially when they're actually in a relationship and they're developing that from like the halfway point on, and it's no more of the like tension, it's like they're in the relationship now, they have to hide from the public and they have to hide from the paparazzi, but they can really truly be themselves behind closed doors and like who they are around each other only. And it's the one time that they both don't really feel alone in the world. Magnificent. I love it. I love that. I also like that these characters know each other really well and can read through subtext. I gave this 3.75. If you want to, give it a chance. It is a slow burn read. The relationship develops over time. Really, really great. Build up, although very predictable. So if you want just like an easy, fun read that, you know, takes up some time, this is a pretty good one. It's pretty dark. I enjoyed it. 3.75, right? So if you've ever read it before, let me know your thoughts on this one and how you find it different than the first, or if you like this one better than the first, or vice versa. And yeah, I will see you in the next video.